Hello, everyone. Welcome to tonight's Sonder Social. I'm Malika. I will be leading you through your independence journaling prompt social today. So I'm very excited. For folks who've been with me for a while and have done some of my socials in the past, you all know how much I love the journaling socials in particular because we really get to dive in a little bit deeper with the theme, and it's always, very, very like reflective in the chat. So it's one of my favorite types of socials we do here. So I am excited. Courtney, yes, this is my new view. I did move. So I moved a block, but this is my city view, which is awesome. Lots of sunlight, even though it's been very, very gloomy here in San Francisco. But yeah, so I am excited to have you all dial in here. I have Maya joining me today. So she is dialing in from Colorado, and she'll just kind of be there monitoring the chat, letting you know if you have any questions, answering that, and as we go along the social. But yeah, so thank you all so much for joining. Let's go ahead and get started because we have a lot of writing to do today. Okay. So, oh yeah, and before we get started, make sure to set your chat to everyone. Double check that your chat is toggle is on everyone and not hosts and panelists because that's the primary way we all interact with each other tonight. So, um, all right. So before we get started, is there anyone who is new to a journaling social or a Sonder social, relatively new? Go ahead and type I'm new in the chat. Just want to give you a warm welcome. And I'll walk us through some of the community guidelines here. So just a reminder to be kind and courteous to yourself and others. No promotions or spam. Respect everyone's privacy. No hate speech or bullying. Any product or accessory questions or customer care inquiries can go to hello@silkandsonder.com. And just remember that Sonder socials are the way we all connect with one another, especially these journaling socials. It's a way for us to really be vulnerable, not only with each other, but with ourselves. And just remember that this is a safe space, and it's really meant for you to get the most out of your journal. So, with that said, let's go ahead and walk through the theme. So, we're going to be exploring the theme quite a bit. Sorry, the lighting in my in the frame is not great. The sun is like blaring. But basically, when we think about independence, thinking about kind of how we're designing our life, is it we have so many obligations and responsibilities. We have a lot of things going on. But thinking about kind of what you do for yourself, how do you protect your boundaries? How do you feel like you're living within your kind of true core, and like being independent with your decision making, and saying maybe no to things that you often have to say yes to? So I feel like personally, I really resonate with this theme. I think when I turned 30, a big source of independence was moving in on my own and just living in a city apartment by myself. I think it was something that I've always wanted to do. And I feel so much more aligned with kind of where my life is. And it's definitely helped me get back on track. So, independence is a core piece of that. And I've been independent for like pretty much my whole adult life. And it's a big part of who I am. So I feel like this is a theme that definitely hits home for me. So I'm excited to dive in a little bit deeper together. Okay, and so now we'll walk through the agenda. So we'll start off with an opening activity. We'll keep it kind of brief this time just because there's a lot of journal prompts that we have to get through together for this hour, and the hour goes by really fast. So we'll do the opening activity, then we'll move to the independence journal prompts on page 14, and then we will move to the strengthening your independence on page 15. Okay. For the opening activity, feel free to like open to a blank page or use a scratch paper, whatever. Or even if you, maybe for this activity, if you have Spotify or, some like music application that you want to use to do this, you can definitely feel free to get creative there. But for this activity, think about kind of what that personal theme song is. Is it a song that you made up? Maybe it's like a your own kind of take on what theme that is. You can define it yourself, or it can be an existing song, a song that really resonates with you. Maybe it's the melody that speaks to you, or maybe it's the lyrics, or maybe it's the song, the writer or the singer. So you can kind of choose a single song to represent the summer, or it could be a summer playlist. So you can maybe, if you want to go like the Spotify route, you can kind of start adding songs to your summer playlist and think about kind of what is that theme that's tying it together for you. How is it representative of where you are in your life right now? So I'll give you all some time to reflect, and feel free to type in the chat what that song is, or what songs you're incorporating into your summer playlist. All right. Thank you all for sharing your summer song. I feel like they're all such fun songs, and it's always a good time to have like a fun summer playlist. I feel like I've been also just like bumping songs that I love and then cleaning my apartment because that's the only way I want to clean. And yeah, it's been great. Okay, cool. So now we'll move on to the reason why we're all here, the Independence Journal prompt. So turn to page 14, and we're going to go section by section. So we'll start off with the first box here. So I'm going to read this really quickly. So this journaling prompt says, identify three areas where you feel dependent on others. These could be financial, emotional, or practical dependencies. So I kind of broke this up based on that prompt to help kind of ask you some supplemental questions to help you reflect. So thinking about like what area of your life feels incomplete without somebody else. Is there a dependency by choice, by necessity, or by habit? Do you rely on anyone financially, emotionally? Is there somebody in your everyday that helps with some of your responsibilities? Think about kind of who in your life or how in your life you rely on others. I would say for me, I would say emotionally, I rely on my friends to keep me sane. I think oftentimes I feel like I process a lot of my like my pain and my like hard times with my close friends because I feel like I need that outlet. So that is how I feel like I am dependent financially and my everyday. I live alone, I'm single, and I don't have anybody helping me financially. So it's all on me. But I think on the emotional piece, I do rely on my circle to get me through. And I'll give you all some time to reflect on how you feel like you are dependent on others, and we'll regroup. And feel free to share in the chat. All right. Thank you all for sharing in the chat kind of your dependencies and being really honest with yourself and, like where your life is. So I think it's always nice to recognize like what we're dependent on, what we feel like we are, how we get support. And let's see. Let's move on to the second prompt, which is reflect on how these dependencies impact your life. Write about the positive and negative effects of these dependencies. So, thinking about kind of what emotions come up when you think about this dependency, does this connection help you grow or keep you small? I think there's always, there's a duality to everything. And I feel like it's good to be independent, but it's also, there's a flip side. There's certain things that maybe aren't so great about being super independent. And thinking about kind of what would happen if this dependency ended tomorrow, right? There's always that, that possibility that, it would fall back on you. So thinking about kind of what that is. I would say when I reflect upon how my dependencies have impacted my life, I would say that being like financially independent and just really making sure that I was whole on my own was really important to me just because that's just kind of how life panned out for me. And I always felt like I needed to prove it to myself that I could rely fully on myself. So, whatever that may be, it was just always something that's been drilled into my mind because I think in a lot of throughout my life, I felt like, yes, I have my family, but it, it wouldn't, I feel like my core, I just felt like I needed to do it on my own so that I can prove it that I could do it on my own. So that's why I think I've always been hyper independent in my career. But I think the flip side is because of that, I felt like I maybe have put some blockers up when it comes to maybe my personal life, or maybe I think it might be preventing me from certain things or certain situations that maybe I feel like I can't fully trust that somebody would show up for me in certain ways. So that is kind of how I feel like that's the negative side effect. And kind of lonely. I feel like I've been single for most of my adult life, just because I have been so focused on my career. And that is, one of the negative effects of being an independent working girl. So that is kind of the flip side. So I will give you all some time to reflect on some of the positives, but also the negatives of kind of your dependencies, and then we will move forward to that last little box. Sorry, I just switched the slide before I got on camera. Okay, thank you all for sharing in the chat. This is why I love the journaling socials. I think it's like so, I don't know, it's so vulnerable in the chat, like how we think about kind of the positives and the negatives. And even I always enjoy sharing like a little bit about my life with you all, just because I feel like we are all just so reflective. And I don't know, I love just talking to you all. So thank you for sharing and being very honest. Okay, so we'll now move on to that third little box there. And for this prompt, it's about um, basically list practical steps you can take to become more self-reliant, such as learning new skills, setting personal goals, or seeking support to build your independence. Think about maybe there's some skills you want to learn, maybe there's some personal goals you have. And like maybe there's a mentor or a friend that can encourage your independence without kind of enabling dependency. So for me, I would say some of the things that I feel like I rely on are I definitely rely on my dad for a lot of like financial advice. So maybe becoming a little bit more autonomous with how I am just kind of managing my personal finances a little bit and not being super self-reliant on my dad. That's one thing. And then my second thing is I would say also not being taking advice on too much from others when it comes to relationships. I would say that oftentimes I like feel like I need validation or I need just like just I don't know. I feel like I get a lot of unsolicited advice in the romantic department sometimes, and sometimes like I just kind of have to like go for it and like do what I want to do and not like just get in my head about it. So that's something I'm also working on as well. No, I think it's fine to give, but I think ultimately you have to go with what your gut says, right? That's what I mean. So yeah, I'm not talking about like one on one, but like case by case, but more like in general, like what can I be doing better? Like maybe not internalizing my insecurities. So that's kind of what I meant by that. So thinking about kind of what that is for you. So I will give you all some time to think about maybe some skills, some goals, and mentors that you can rely on for you to feel more independent. All right. We will now move on to the next page, which is page 15. And this one is called Strengthening Your Independence. So for this prompt, the prompt reads, identify 3 areas in your life where you need stronger boundaries to maintain emotional independence. Write down specific actions you can take to establish and uphold these boundaries. So here I have some options for you if you're struggling to kind of think about those 3 areas. I know we just did a lot of reflection on the last few prompts, and this one is a little bit more about your boundaries and thinking about kind of how you can just kind of make sure that you're okay because you're respecting your boundaries. So, this one can be relationship dynamics, thinking about some of those relationships where you might feel a little bit more drained. Um, are there some like social obligations that you just want to say no to once in a while? Work/productivity. Are there anything with work where it's, I'm the worst at this one, where you feel like it's really hard to say no or to push back at work when you have to constantly feel like you're seeking out approval, especially when you're at the bottom. And then digital life, social media, maybe we're constantly on, social media. So like, are we comparing ourselves subconsciously? Are we oversharing? Are we looking for validation? Thinking about kind of what those boundaries are. And then maybe like your self-respect. So what are some, things and thoughts that you have that maybe undermine that emotion, that challenge, that independence? Is there any fear or guilt or living with a scarcity mindset, like anything that you feel like kind of prohibits you from really taking those leaps. So think about kind of what those boundaries are. So there's a lot. Those are just a couple areas too. So you can really take this and really go forward. But I will give you all some time. I know this one is like a full page, so feel free to keep writing. But think about kind of what those boundaries are. I think personally, I've been really lucky that a lot of my friendships have been pretty amazing. So I haven't had that many friendships in my life where I felt like drained or obligated, but there are times when I overcommit to like maybe traveling to meet my friends and I have to back out and say no. And then similarly, I think when it comes to work, I struggle with saying no and I'm overwhelmed oftentimes, and it's hard to take a break, which is not great. So I'm trying to be better at that and making sure that I'm getting adequate sleep and all of that. And then in terms of like boundaries within my own mind, I think there's most of my 20s, I feel like I was really insecure and really just didn't know what I was doing and felt like a lot of fear in everything that I did. So, kind of rewiring my brain a little bit and making sure that I'm just kind of living in the moment, living in the present, not comparing myself to kind of my friends' paths and just really just being in my own and just letting life happen. So, that is kind of my kind of boundaries that I feel like I have tried to rewire recently, but I will give you all some time to reflect and we will regroup in a bit. great. Thank you all for sharing in the chat. Um, these socials, we get really vulnerable, and I think it's really amazing. The power of Sonder family is how supportive we are of one another. So it's really beautiful to see kind of all the chatter that's happening in the chat. But unfortunately, our time has come to a close. This has been a really impactful hour where we really dove into this theme of independence. We got deep here. We really just kind of shared a lot. And yes, this hour always goes fast, especially these journaling socials. There's just a lot going on with the reflection. But it's been amazing. And thank you all for being so kind of involved in this hour with me. So thank you. We will now. And this is where I prompt you guys to share your pages. Make sure to share your pages in Sonder Club if you feel comfortable enough to share with the broader group. And just another reminder, yes, Maya's going to pop in the YouTube link over there. There's a ton of socials if you've missed any this month or anything prior. And then just a reminder, we have the life coach product here at Silk and Sonder. I know a lot of folks were saying that they rely on Jenny, as do I. So make sure to check out um, the life coach app at Silk and Sonder. So Maya's going to drop that link. It's coach.silkandsonder.com. It's been a great like product that I use often. So definitely feel free to check that out. But thank you all so much for spending this hour with me. It's been lovely to reconnect with you all on a much deeper level. So thank you for spending this hour with me, and I can't wait to see you at my next social. Bye, everybody.